Peace. What's good? How y'all doing? Today is Saturday, May 31st, 2025. I pray that this message reaches you all in the best of health, spirit, and mind. I'm doing really well. I am currently on an impromptu adventure in the Hollywood Hills, and I came up this route a way that I hadn't been to before. So I was like, kind of eyeing the street, like, I've never been up there. And so I came up and realized that I've already walked this trail, part of it. It'll split once I get to the very bottom, but I have done a video, and I believe I went all the way up this hill, which is a dead end, but it's a very far reaching street. And then I just turned around and came back down and did the video from there. But since we're here and since it is a very beautiful day, it's about 80 degrees right now. It would be perfect if it were not for the white lines being sprayed in the sky. You can't see any active right now, but they have been spraying in a much more like subtle way. They have flagrant and blatant ways where it's obvious that they're spraying, and then they also do it in subtle ways, and this is one of those subtle ways. So the average person who lives in LA would say that this is smog, but this is not smog. Not to say that the traffic and whatnot is not contributing to the quality of the air, but even if you look at the horizon there, you can see the lines in the sky. So this is how they sort of perforate after a certain amount of time. And is that the word? Accumulate, that might be a better word. Yeah, accumulate I think would probably be a better word. But anyway, I'm not gonna let that lessen my vibration. I'm not gonna let that stop the flow. Even that random wind blower or leaf blower in the background, I'm not gonna let any of that stop the frequency, because it's green and it's beautiful and the sun is out. And I had a wonderful conversation with my Climbing the Ladder of Yourself group today. I had a wonderful yoga practice. Only did 30 minutes, but I did 30 minutes of power yoga. And I was good with that because I knew I was going to end up doing a walk somewhere in the area in terms of the Hollywood Hills. So this is like my second win. I think it took me probably 25 minutes to get all the way up here. So that's a 25-minute steep incline, and then a 25-minute decline, which you guys are going to do with me. And actually we can time it. Well, it takes it always takes longer to get up than it does down. So make sure I get my extra points. If it takes me 15 minutes to get down, that means it took me like 25 to get up. But just to stop for a second and reflect as this beautiful wind kicks up, and it feels so amazing on my skin. The wind is coming from the left, and that sound is coming from the left too, and then the sun is right here to the right. And as if on schedule, there is the ghetto bird in the sky. It doesn't matter what part of LA you're in, eventually you are gonna have helicopters hovering, especially it's a holiday weekend, and then it's Pride weekend. And so right around that area where you can see that helicopter, let me see if I can see it. I think I got it on screen. The sun is blaring in my eyes, so I'm getting a reflection. But if you guys can see that helicopter, that's down there in the Santa Monica area, way in the distance there. But that's where a lot of the Pride parades and celebrations are taking place. So it's a lot of activity over there. I originally was planning on going to Griffith Park. I found a beautiful walking trail in that area, but considering the amount of traffic in this area, I don't want to do any driving today. I just want to chill out, especially because of I've been working for 2 days like nonstop straight. So yeah, I wanted to get outside and explore and do some exploring. And then I said if I felt inclined, I was going to do this video, and if I didn't, then I was going to listen to some music all the way. But I don't have a particular message today, so I might be a little bit all over the place, but that's okay too, because you guys know I do that from time to time, especially when I don't have my notes. But I have got to give myself permission to do that, because sometimes that's when the most wisdom comes from me. I can't only speak for myself, but like when I'm not overthinking it and just being in that heart to heart, mind to mind kind of perspective, that's when the most clarity comes because I'm really speaking from my authentic self. Not that I'm not always speaking from my authentic self, but you get the point. You know, it's kind of like creating notes, creating a focus, steering the conversation in a certain direction, so to speak, opposed to just letting it flow. I'm walking down a street here that does not have a sidewalk, so while I am being cognizant of our conversation, I'm also being cognizant of my surroundings. Yes, it's a couple of helicopters. There's a couple of helicopters actually. Let me get in my, you know what I mean? Off my ebonics. Then I'm gonna get right back on it, so it's all good. But yeah. So I think for me, you know, one thing I want to emphasize, and I'm always emphasizing, and I'm going to keep emphasizing, is for us to really, right now, focus on alchemizing in our personal circumstances and individual lives. Because those of us who have the courage and have the audacity and accept the responsibility of alchemizing the circumstances on the ground right now, are first going to have to prove that we can do it in our own lives. And so this is why a lot of us right now are in, I'll say in certain regards in the fire, right? And then I'll say in certain regards feeling lost. And then I can say in certain regards seeking something better, something higher, something a little more substantive, right? See, there's the car I was talking about. Thank you, sir. Don't hit me. Appreciate you. And just seeking depth, you know, and something beyond this world, you know, and being in alignment and alignment with and a part of, look at that house up there. Is that about probably 30,000, 20,000 square feet? I love architecture. Y'all know that. And this video that I did before, well, not this video, the video I did before where we walked this path was on the membership channel. So I'm pretty sure I didn't post that on YouTube. So you guys will get, you know, the vantage point of this experience, but with my today personality. So alchemizing the circumstances of our individual lives, going to the root of where we are stuck or struggling in our lower nature. For some of that is being expressed through relationships, right? Family relationships in particular, spousal or boyfriend, girlfriend, well, boyfriend, I would imagine. I don't know. I had to remember them. Well, no, I'm not talking to the scum. Yeah, boyfriend or girlfriend. What am I saying? I was thinking I was in climbing the ladder of yourself for a second there. So you see, I have to compartmentalize my brain here, guys. It's a tough journey. No, I'm kidding. Some of us is relationships. Some of us is, you know, parent-child relationships, right? And healing, whether it's our parents or whether it's our children, and healing, you know, forgiving ourselves or healing that part of ourselves that wasn't properly, you know, nurtured and was abandoned or neglected, right? Because if we grew up like this is the time now, it's a perfect example. This is an example of the shift in the narrative, right? This is a nice house. Yeah, we definitely looked at this one on the way up before. And see, that's how you can tell when it's chemtrails, those little sort of waves. It starts off in waves and then it billows out. So you see the two sides of my personality right there, the scientist and the lover of architecture. Just, you know, you see how that just popped up real quick right there. I love this house. It's beautiful. I love how high the windows are. Look at that right there. You got the stone corners with the plant and the sculpture. That's just so dope. So those of you guys who saw me talk about this house last time, it's one of I have specific places that I really like that I kind of stalk. So yeah, this might be becoming one of those. I mean, it's only my second time walking past here, but still, I can definitely appreciate a beautiful piece of architecture. Alchemizing the circumstances where you know you're falling short. Those relationships, let me start back there. And And if it's workable and if it's fixable, then setting the intention first and then kind of working from there. And if it's not workable and if it's not fixable, then accepting that and coming to peace with that and then operating from there. And that's one of those big things where a lot of us get stuck sometimes because we haven't made the decision yet, right? Is this relationship solvable or salvageable? That's probably not the word. That sounds like trash. But you guys, not salvageable. Is it maintainable? With me in my right state of mind, though. It's a nice house right here, too. Is this maintainable with me in my right state of mind, or do I have to be somebody ugly to keep this person in my life? Right? That's you say, well, I don't know. Okay, well, let's start peeling back the layers and asking the real questions. Right? So asking those tough questions, dealing with it, dealing with the sort of repercussions of whatever that is, and then moving forward. But you got to make the decision. You got to make the choice. So relationships, some of us are in very unhealthy working relationships in terms of our business or our jobs. I mean, if the Diddy case doesn't underscore that, I don't know what else is. I don't know what else does. All these people working for this man and barely getting paid any real money, mind you, in LA. So the real salary for what they were getting paid was probably 3 or 4 times higher than that. But committing ourselves to toxic, dysfunctional work relationships. And sometimes that's with a caveman mentality like Diddy. And sometimes that's just, accepting lesser pay, watching other people get promoted before us and not standing up for ourselves, dealing with emotional and mental abuse. I would veer to say that probably in the corporate world in America, 65 to 70% of people are dealing with some level of emotional and mental abuse. How could they not if the corporations of America are being run by sociopaths, and narcissists? I don't know. Do we need to do a full in-depth analysis of that, or can we all just kind of agree, pretty flowers. Can we all just agree to kind of agree on that? Maybe I should do an in-depth analysis about that. Although they've been done. So you got the relationships piece, you got the condition of your mind piece. If more than 30 to 40% of your daily thoughts are negative, are making you think the worst of yourself, negatively criticizing and judging yourself, inflicting ongoing trauma and grief because of past mistakes you made. If more than 40% of the continuity of your thinking is working against you, then that's a stop, pause. Let's hold off on everything. This is something, not hold off on everything. Obviously, still gotta live. I'm in the shot. That's bad filming. So let me just, okay. It's bad cameraman or camera woman. Gotta stay on top of that. More than 40%, more than 40% of your thinking on a day-to-day basis is negative, then this is something that absolutely 100% requires your attention. And not like I'm gonna put that off until tomorrow. Even if you said, okay, well, I'm gonna schedule an appointment with a therapist next week. I'm on the appointment. Okay, cool. What are we doing today? Like being very serious and very intentional. Because even if you go see a psychiatrist, 99.9% of the work is done outside of the chair. That's why a lot of people don't have success in therapy, because they want to go sit down and have somebody tell them what to do. Not everybody, obviously, because some people do have benefit, but this whole idea of somebody fixing you. No, you have to fix you. Y'all, is this cotton on this tree? That definitely wasn't here before when I walked through, but I stood here on the way up and kind of looked at it. That looks like cotton, bruh. And if that is a tree that, grows up to this capacity in terms of height, you think cotton fields were never really like a tree growing upright. I promise y'all, it looks like cotton, or it's not silk. It's too thick for silk. I don't know what that is, but that is really, really, really interesting. Last time we did the video, I was marveling at this house, and the landscaping, obviously, the variety of plants and flowers, and then the way that the stairs kind of curve and go in different directions. I like that. It's just a little dope, a nice little twist. But the greenness in the landscaping is just exquisite. They have every plant. I mean, you got the banana leaves there, and just the greenness. I respond very favoritively to green when I'm in nature, when I'm in green environments. I respond very favoritively. My energy, my spirit, when I'm in places with a lot of green. So I can understand why people have green as their favorite color, even though, there's varieties of green. So I like the bright green, vibrant, all shades of green actually in nature. But anyway, back to the point. I did do a panoramic. Yeah, I did a panoramic. No, I didn't do a panoramic. I think they're having a party at this house down here. They got all kind of gun police, armed police. At first I was thinking they might be doing a movie. But then when I got closer up the hill, I think it's just a party. Maybe a celebrity or somebody who needs extra security. Alchemizing. So we said relationships, trauma, whatever the trauma is, and taking the steps like, sexual abuse or trauma, for instance, like that's not something to ignore and pretend like it's just going to go away. And sometimes for some of us that looks like a full deep dive, depending on how much healing we already done, depending how much trauma we experience. And for some of us, it's just like a surface level, sweep. Let me reanalyze myself and how I'm getting triggered. And I thought I healed past that, but now all of a sudden, that might be a movie, y'all, actually. I think it's a movie. Reanalyze, how I'm operating in the world and certain patterns of behavior and whatnot, and how those things keep bringing certain types of energy to me. And like, I'm done with that, but being definitive about that. I'm done with that experience. I'm done with that pattern. I'm done with that way of life. I'm done with that level of suffering, with that level of pain, right? So let me set an intention. And then from setting the intention, but being definitive and decisive about the intention, then that's when, I'm going to stop talking till I walk past these officers. I don't want them to think I'm doing reconnaissance. Scoping the scene, Oh, that's a party. Okay, it's a party. It's not a movie. It looks like a lot of men up there, though. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's why I looked. I said, "Oh yeah, that must be a movie," because all I saw was fellas. But maybe all the ladies are in the pool or whatnot. It's definitely a pool type of day in the Hollywood Hills. But anyway, alchemizing the areas where we know we're lacking and we're falling short, and being critical and intentional about that, especially women, where we can, we'll drop everything to go run and help the people that we love, but it gets very uncomfortable when it comes to focusing on ourselves. Like that mindset, that way of living, that state of consciousness can no longer exist. It's run its course. It's run its course. There was a necessity for our women and all women during a certain period of time to, operate in that capacity. But it's run its course. And how do we know it's run its course? Because, little bastard. No, sorry. He scared me. I don't know if y'all saw my handshake, but shout out to the little dog, whatever you got going on, little homie. I didn't mean that. Dang, what was I saying? He threw me off. I called the dog a bastard. Lord forgive me. What was I saying? I forgot my thought now. Damn it. Okay, alchemizing. I think I was talking about our shortcomings and our flaws. I talked about relationships. I'm hearing a lot of people talking about not being able to think straight and being lost and, kind of unsure about themselves in this timeline. That means you're, obviously going the herb route with the ginkgo and the lion's mane mushroom and the reishi mushroom and all those different healing regimens, so to speak, but then also being way more physically active and being out in the world so we can give our minds and our brains new things to process. You gotta have, your mind needs to be challenged consistently. The way you challenge your physical body, or you should, we need to be, our minds, our brains need to be challenged consistently. So you gotta give yourself new things to think about, new things to experience, you know? This is a nice house right here too. It has beautiful views. More Spanish. Looks, yeah, I think some brothers up there partying, or somebody black up there having a party. I keep seeing black people going up the hill. Not that it has to be a black party, but you know what I mean. So this has like the Spanish kind of Moroccan motif. And a lot of these properties in this area do. I think last time I walked from that direction, because this is Hollywood Boulevard. Let me see, should we walk over there or just go straight down? Yeah, let's walk this way because I don't remember what's over there. I don't think there was anything quite so memorable. Let me just switch my hands real quick. I think if I walk on that side, it's going to take me down to the same direction that I started. So it's all Gucci. Okay. Fix my hand. Fingers getting a little cramped there. It's time to swing for the fences, family, and whatever that means for you. You know, swinging in for the fences might mean locking yourself in a room for 10 hours a day and getting that book done, or, you know, waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get to the gym because you got to be at work at 7, or, you know, cleaning up your house, cleaning up your car, cleaning up your environment. Oh, yeah, I definitely remember this house, but I think we did this house. Well, we didn't, do this house. Of course, I'm just on the street panning my camera to show you the beauty, but I think we saw this house in a different video. I don't remember for sure, but that little turquoise element and the Mayan sort of indigenous parts of the architecture, or, you can just see that. You can see it kind of in the design and some of the stonework. And that turquoise, that's beautiful. I would love to live in a house like that. I'd probably change the color scheme. I'd probably turn it into, the outside. I'd turn it into a really vibrant piece of art. I'd paint the accents on the stones and turn it into a really vibrant piece of art, probably accentuating that turquoise too. You see all of that bamboo up there? Beautiful homes, just beauty everywhere. I love it. I'm here for it, You see the abundance of God and the Most High, and then you see the abundance of what the mind is capable of. So I don't feel, if you're getting over, if you became a billionaire, which most likely you did, having to get over on somebody and, the worst aspects of what come with, wealth. That's one thing. But if you just found your lane, found your zone, found your craft and mastered it, like, nah, bro, I'm here for that. Cheers to the geniuses of the world. Cheers to the builders of the world. Cheers to the scientists of the world. You know what I mean? Cheers to the trendsetters. Cheers to the ones who think outside the box. That's the underlying tone. That's the frequency for this message. I need us to get activated. The thinkers, the creators, the beautiful ones, the spiritually beautiful ones. I'm talking about no physical looks. The spiritually beautiful ones. You know what I mean? That's a compliment to me. I don't, physical compliments is wonderful. I'm not going to downplay that. All women love to get compliments, especially when it's, just a beautiful intention. I know when I was young, though, when I was 15, 16, I used to hate when men would undress me with their eyes. That vibe, that vibration, I picked up on that very young. That whole, looking at you and looking you up and down, I didn't like that shit. It's like, bro, you do not know me. You know what I mean? And like, it's kind of like a form of ownership. Am I on? I think I'm way on Crescent Heights right now, which is cool. It's all good. So this is another beautiful sort of, we're going in the direction of Laurel Canyon now. That's another spot we're going to hit up before I leave LA for our walk with me, going that Laurel Canyon area, the connecting the Hollywood Hills and Studio City. All right, so where are we at? Oh, let's just take a moment to appreciate the beauty of those powerful pink flowers. It's pink, purple. It's pink. So, where was I at? Oh, appreciating the beauty of buildings, appreciating ingenuity. So, where are you focusing on being excellent at? What's your niche? What do you bring to the table in terms of that unique thing you do? And I'm not asking that like well, we better get ready because the revolution is going down. It's a joke, but we're not in disaster preparedness mode. We're in sovereignty preparedness mode. So disaster and sovereignty is two very different frequencies, right? So we're preparing for sovereignty and we're preparing to thrive. We're not preparing for disaster and chaos, even though the people who are in charge of this world, right? The elite, if you will, the people that the used to be Illuminati, used to be elite, used to be in charge, speaking that into existence. But they got a different plan for the trajectory of the world. In the same way I say that Hollywood is Satan's vision board, our minds are God's vision board. Oh, that's a bar. Oh my God. Wait, somebody type that in the comments for me. On one of the, whether it's on YouTube or on my membership channel. Remind me that I said that. That foundation looked like it's starting to tilt a little bit. See, this is the type of stuff I'll be thinking about when I'm fascinated with, just the fact that you have the audacity to build a 20,000 square foot mountain just right, 20,000 square foot house just right on the side of the mountain. Like the boldness is just, oof. See the foundation on that house right there, top right? So that's all the work that you got to put in to even build the actual house. All that area down there at the bottom ain't even livable. It's just the foundation. So this is like a perfect metaphor for life. You want to build something beautiful. You want to build something that withstands the test of time. You want to become something that's beautiful. You got to step your foundation game up. And in a world of wickedness, or in a world where the program is to keep you off-centered and out of alignment with the Most High, then we have to be very intentional in terms of how we're operating in the world. Creating the flow and not going with the flow. The old paradigm is going with the flow. The new paradigm is creating the flow. So, see the work that got to get put in on the foundation that to build something beautiful. And we're not just talking about the physical work. We're talking about the mental, spiritual, and emotional, because that's where all the real magic happens. So alchemy time now. Game on time now. Activation mode time on now. And it's going to look different for everybody. If you've been on the hamster wheel for 30 years, your emphasis and your focus is going to be on being still and learning how to take care of yourself and learning how to surrender to the fact that you got shit you need to work on beyond the hustle and bustle and paying bills. And that right there is a very big, difficult thing for a lot of people, because a lot of us put our heads down and just focus, bury ourselves in work, bury ourselves in our businesses, so we don't have to deal with all that other stuff. Well, now is the time to deal with all that other stuff. It's all coming to the surface. So the alchemists right now, your work is in full effect on you though. Within, like I said in the conversation today, the only way out of this is within. Let's see, can we go this way? I don't know if this, oh wait, it's bad opticals. I think this is Laurel Canyon. Yeah, I can take this street all the way down. Make sure I don't hit any areas on this busy street where the sidewalk runs out. I have to be making a bad dash to get to safety, you know? So this is the main road right here that'll take you through Laurel Canyon, which is a beautiful drive, just through a tremendous amount of beautiful mansions like the ones we were looking at, but then also the landscaping, the mountainsides, the lushness, the greenness, just very complimentary of abundance, all of it. So the alchemizing means dealing with the fears on whatever level we're on, or deciding on the things that we've been procrastinating on, giving ourselves permission to put ourselves first. Still got trauma, still got abandonment and neglect issues. Okay, stop ignoring that shit and start, going within. Start seeking help, start seeking answers, start seeking depth, start seeking clarity. We live in a mental world, so we're not really getting a lot of the energetic backup that we should be getting. This is the tall girls struggle where I have to, have to learn how to navigate the trees on these here street sides. Actually, this ain't a tall girl struggle. If you were 5'4", you'd be bending over right here. So I'm really bending over though. But shout out to all the tall girls. Shout out to all the short girls too. It's girl power, period. Alchemizing the circumstances, taking care of ourselves, paying attention to how we're thinking, how we're feeling, raising the bar on our goals and aspirations, thinking bigger, you know what I mean? Operating from our choosing from our true authentic self, right? That's the real point of thinking bigger on a spiritual level though. Ooh, this is just, oh my God, this is wisdom right here flowing through me. So thinking bigger, we think, not a Camry or Benz, right? Yeah, not a 3-bedroom house, with white picket fence, but a mansion perched on the hillside, or, a yacht instead of a fisher's boat, right? We thinking bigger, and yes, that would be accurate. Okay, this is a view right here. Let's just stop and take a moment to reflect. Make sure I don't forget my train of thought. Thinking big, right? That's where we are. Okay, cool. So you see that green, how the light just kind of hits off of it right there? That's why, when I buy my house and settle down, I need to be somewhere where there's water and where there's green. And maybe, well, I won't get into that, but I want to stay on subject. We're about a block up from Sunset Boulevard. So what was I saying? Thinking big. Okay, so I gave the examples of what we naturally think of when it comes to thinking big. But spiritually, when it's like, nah, bro, we need to tighten up and think big. It's like, nah, we're making choices from our inauthentic self. Meaning only for money. Meaning only for out of survival. Meaning only because my parents said this is what I should do. Meaning only this is what my husband said I should do, and I don't know how to tell him I don't want to do it anymore, etc., right? That's fear-based consciousness. So thinking bigger is like, nah, that ain't really you making those moves. That's the part of you that's scared to step out on faith. I just love these flowers. That's the part of you that's scared to step out on faith. That's the part of you that's scared to fail. I can tell you as a business owner, 1000%, and as a parent, failure is a part of the process. Because you can only get better. You can only, mine the wisdom from whatever the experience is, whatever you're trying to create or learn or, assist with or add value through, this don't work. Okay, we tried that didn't work. Okay, yep, tried that again, that doesn't work. And like the continuity of continuing to go back at it. So we talked about that in the class today too, starting what you finish. So that's another example of, say, well, what do you mean by alchemizing? You have a habit of starting things and not finishing them, then now is the time to start finishing the things that you start. Rebuild trust with yourself. Rebuild, Belief in yourself, faith in yourself. You want to reestablish your faith in God. You want to embellish your faith in God. I wonder what kind of berries these are. Can't be raspberries, huh? Nah, those aren't. Are those raspberries, y'all? I don't know, but I'm not gonna try it. I'm just curious. Okay. Oh, those blackberries? Hell nah. Are these blackberries, y'all? Don't they look like a blackberry? Those are blackberries, bruh. If I was homeless, I would stay close to this tree. Worst case scenario. Okay, so here's some. I think those are the fruits that we used to eat. Those orange. I forget what they're called. We used to eat those as children. They're probably native to California. But all right, I'm gonna end this before I get to sunset because it's gonna get loud, and I want to be ending it in the area of loud, you know. Okay, so alchemizing. Being mindful of how we're thinking, how we're feeling, paying attention to what we're putting in our bodies, being graceful and kind with ourselves, paying attention to the things that we do consistently that we really don't want to do or we really don't like to do, paying attention to the people that come around and, you know, the energy gets weird and now you can't talk like you used to talk or speak freely because all that, well, I ain't accepting, that's taking too many shorts. The shit is too real in the field right now in the world. You know what I'm saying? And what it takes to maintain real frequency right now. So, or the higher frequencies right now. So we ain't picking up no more wooden nickels. Capiche? All right, y'all. I'm going to let you guys go. I wanted to go for about 30 minutes. We're at 36 minutes. So that's good timing. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Take care of yourself. Go outside. Move around. Get some sunshine. Do something fun. Watch something funny, go to the movies, step outside your comfort zone and do something different. All right? And I will see you beautiful people very soon. Peace and love.